now is the time starting the theme 5, agricultural heritage tourism. So each speaker have 16 minutes, but 3 minutes discussion and questions. So ideally, speaker stop at 13 minutes, but you can speak until the end of the time. Right? Okay, first, please start first speaker. Kotani-san, please.
Hello, everyone. This is my first presentation in English. Since this is a conference where everyone from China, Korea, and all over Japan will gather, announcement forgive me for laughing. Just read the slide. Yes. My theme, from the media's point of view, attractiveness and uniqueness of GIAS. Connecting with the diversity of life brings joy to farmers and citizens alike. My background, I was an announcer at Ishikawa TV, also did news program planning. I became an owner of rice terrace in Noto, that's Noto. For 2 years, I went to Satoyama of Noto to experience rice cultivation. I interviewed farmers and filmed the seasonal change in Satoyama landscape. What is the value of agriculture? I thought it was a treasure trove of topics. There are many intellectual discoveries, surprise and wonders, not just for food production, not just for the economy. Joy and wonder in the process, a treasure trove of topics. Traveler's point of view. My view, media point of view. The key value of TV news and information program are topically and interest. Example, the biggest, the first, the popular, the only, the oldest, the rarest, the smallest, it is worse, just a GIAS. I then became a freelance 2011. I participated as a member of a council of the MAF, which was separate from the GIAS, and I met Professor Takeuchi. I was impressed by the concept of GIAS. It is not only about food production. The entire agriculture system is important. 2020 member of the expert committee on GIAS in Japan now. The Japan Agriculture newspaper covered and introduced the GIAS special feature, 15 site. What is the attraction of GIAS? One of the attractions of GIAS certified area is the landscape. It is a life of work of farmers that has created. The farmers' livelihood and activities are not an industry, but started with self-sufficiency. The farmers' lifestyle and work is created agricultural heritage. For many Japanese, the landscape and lifestyle of the GIAS region is now different culture. It has been lost in modern Japan. The value is more culture in agriculture than agricultural products. Professor Takeuchi said, Japan is not a major agriculture producer, but it is a major agriculture country. GIAS farmers may live in harmony with diverse life and take pleasure and enjoyment in it. This is Gifu, Osaki, Kobe. These Japanese JIAS. Sado Satoyama in symbiosis with the Toki. This is movie. 絵の設置ってね、環境保全型で聞きますけどね。斉藤さんは意識あるから絵を設置し続けるけど。
いやでも茶道の人結構やってるよ。
あ、そうですか。
ちっちゃい農家っていうか、はい、大規模農家でなければやってる人結構います。
ああ、それは生き物のために？
生き物のためとお金のため。
なるほど。あ、そうか。
から補助金が入って
補助金が、ああ、なるほど。6000円。そうか。はあ。でもそれはすごくいいインセンティブですよね。やる気にね。大きい。絵が綺麗に出来上がりました。
綺麗かどうかわからない。
いやでも。Yes, it is water street. Farmers on Sado Island live in harmony with living creatures. They also engage in hands-on learning with students studying agriculture and local elementary and junior high school and live in symbiosis with the young people teaching. Teaching is motivating. Young people respect farmers who can create biodiversity while farming and beauty and enrich the whole community. This is Gifu area. I fish from the Nagara River. The Comfort Master raises 23 cormorants in a shed in his yard, living together. Yes. Cormorant fishing with a team of young boatmen. Young people respect the cormorant master. This is Tokushima, Nishiawa area. Farming couple in their 18 over have been together for 55 years. Sloping land farming, it is difficult to farm alone. Mr. and Mrs. Nishiokada-san say, we have a spirit of mutual help here. We can do work that we cannot do alone, but we can do it if we help each other. Newspaper articles pasted all over the room. These show that they are happy and proud of their appearance. Many newspaper. Next, 兵庫、三方、田島 cattle breeding system in 兵庫. He is aged 89. In one house together, the house and the barn are one. The house and the barn are one, Mr. Ozaki. I keep cows like my family. It's a traditional way of keeping them. The first thing I do at 5:30 a.m. is feed the cows. I've kept cows since I was a child. The cows are like family, like my wife, he said. This is Kumamoto Aso. Farm coexisted with red cattle. Connecting with living things and life is a motivation to continue farming. Farmers are part of ecosystem. I felt. This is Biwako system. Farmer and under he is fisher. JIAS farmer living in harmony with living things with people, feeling lives, being part of a larger ecosystem, talking, interacting, and conversing with all kinds of things. Not lonely. This is Musashino falling leaf compost farming in Musashino. Saitama next to Edo, Tokyo, a resource recycling farming method in which fallen leaves from 350 years old flatland forest are used as compost to grow soil. For farmer, it is hard work, but for city residents, it is a winter activity in the forest, now a leisure activity. Miyoshi Town is calling on local residents and others to become raking falling leaves supporters. Farming supporters is welcomed in 3 directions: by farmers, by citizens, and by the local community. Santome Falling Leaf Vegetable Research Group. This is movie. Show me. Just a moment. これ戻してムービー見せたいんですけど。これで再生を押せばいいですか？ネクストに行っちゃうな。これできませんかね？再生ボタンあります？この下に見えてる。お願いします。その手前、それ。あれ、ネクストいっちゃう。じゃあやめましょうか。はい、I'm sorry。プレゼンテーションモード外してやらなきゃいけないんですね。
ここ画像になってるんです。
OK、じゃあmy YouTube on my YouTube はい。I experienced it my thought fun for both children and adults, the joy of knowing that my work is useful for farmers and agriculture, feeling of usefulness and self-affirmation, helpers high, well-being, comfortable in mind and body. Mental and physical health and well-being, individual revitalization, citizens gain a better understanding of agriculture, benefits for farmers, the community, and the environment. Increase the number of people who participate from individual benefits. More people will join the farming system. The participation of diverse actors will become resilient. We become attached to and cherish the farmland we work on and are involved with. It is because it becomes a part of me. This is a principle of return. According to behavioral economics and social psychology, we want to give back to the farmer, to the wonder of nature, and to ecosystem service. This is Osaki Kodo and Wasabi Shizuoka. Let's go on a journey to meet these farmers who live in harmony with the ecosystem. The value of agriculture, especially agricultural heritage in today's world, in the areas, connections, and systems that provide health, including food. Farmers, the global environment, and living creatures are all rejoice GS tourism in interactive. Make the local environment and agriculture your own. My own, your own. Fun, happy, connected, travel, and become a fellow participant in the GS farming system. From the media's point of view, the appeal of agriculture, connecting with the diversity of life, bring joy to farmer and citizens alike. Thank you for your kind attention. I pray for Noto's recovery. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your nice presentation. From the floor, I like to gather the comment and question. Do you have questions and comment?
I have a comment.
Oh, okay. Short comment, please.
I am very happy to see your presentation. By the way, my name is Kani. I'm from Korea, and I am very overwhelmed, and I'm very happy to sit through your presentation because that's, talking about so much about the conservation and management. The next thing is the wiser utilization of the GIS is somewhat going to be like what you do, so that I am going to start something like what you are doing in Korea with the GIS sites. So very good work. I congratulate you and I wish you keep up doing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. コリア
コリア、
コリアに、
いや、ものすごく素晴らしかったって言ってたんですね。
Someday I will go Korea's site.
最終島の方です。
チェジュ島の。
チェジュです。はい。one more, just one more.
来年行きましょう。
来年行きましょう。
はい、金野さん。
日本語、英語で言いますか。
Okay. Question or comment?
It's a comment. I want you to let us know how can you attract young people to be a farmer in future? Because you go around and you showcase the farmer's lifestyle. So, 若者をどうやって田舎の生活をするとモチベーションのことできますか？
若者をどうやって田舎に呼び込むか？同じ県、例えば岐阜県にもローカルエリアとsorry
大丈夫大丈夫
OK、例えば一つの県、岐阜県にもローカルエリアとアーバンエリアがありますから、そういう若者を時々呼ぶことはできます。
メディアとして子供の時から田舎生活を面白くていろんなプロダクションをすると大きくなったら、じゃあ私も農業するモチベーションを子供の時から、これはメディアの仕事
メディアの仕事ですね。
だからジャーナリストポイントオブビューとしてそうするといいと思います。これはコメントだけです。ありがとうございます。はい。Yeah, I translate myself. 先生いいですか？
I'm sorry.
Yes, I just want to say what in English. I just recommended her to use the power of media to encourage young generations to adopt rural lifestyle. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
From the 事務局, please announce.
Just an announcement. In this venue, we English-Japanese interpreters are not supported, but in the next room, we accept. We offer English-Japanese translation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for announcement. Okay, let's go next speaker. Next speaker is Professor Kazem, please.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. In this presentation, I am going to take you to the area of studies of landscape studies that is much older than GIS itself. So I'm going to use a few definitions of landscape first, that it is much older than GIS. And then you as people who are working with GIS, you can see how GIS and landscape studies are overlapped. And then I'll take you to Oita Prefecture in Kunisaki Peninsula, where the GIS site, the concept of GIS site in Oita Prefecture is exactly landscape, because we don't have, or we don't focus on one product like tea or like fish or plum. We have 6 municipalities, and the concentration is on the natural material flow, so it's the landscape. And then I will tell you a sad story, that is the landscape is in vulnerability, and we have bamboo invasion as a problem. And at the end, I'm going to tell you how tourism can help. So the story is like this. We start with landscape, and then tourism is coming to save GIA's landscape. So I'm going to go faster, if I can operate this. Okay, so these are the definition of the landscape. If you can go through, because we don't have much time on this. A landscape is a visible feature of an area of land. It's landforms, how they integrate with natural man-made features. Another definition says that it is a socio-ecological system that consists of a mosaic of natural and or human modified ecosystem with a characteristics, configuration of topology, vegetations, land use, and so on. So you can see that it is very close to the definition of GIAS as the co-adaptation of human and natural resource. It says a mosaic or a historic view and managing resources. Landscape can refer to either spatial or ecological characteristics to help define the conservation. I move on. These are more landscape definitions. A place-based system that results from the interaction between people and land instructions, rules, regulations, and so on. Number 6, landscape can be defined as the combination of 3 essential interactive factors: functional interactions, negotiated spaces, and multiple scales. So if you trace these definitions, you can see them that they are about 40 years old definition of landscape. And now in landscape studies, if you're a researcher and you want to do landscape study, you can see that landscape has these areas: tourism, economics, history, environmental, cultural, ecology, geography, human geography, and so on. So in GIAS, you can now trace this. And I take you to Kunisaki, where in Oita Prefecture we have a GIAS landscape, and this is just landscape of Kunisaki. We have Professor Hayashi here, who is a farmer and also a professor, and he does this landscape. You can see we have Kunugi forest, we have a water pond or Tameike, with that we have more than 1,000 of them, and then the Kunugi forest around Tameike, that they cut the forest and they produce shiitake, and the remaining from this goes back to the nature, and this create a natural material flow. So this is the landscape or GIAS landscape of Kunisaki. And this traditional landscape is very old. If you go to Tashibunosho landscape, you can see 100 years passed and the age of the rice fields are the same, no change, because the ownership is belong to a temple, and they did not change the landscape at all. So here, the significance of landscape in Kunisaki, you can trace GIAS. So in Kunisaki, we have natural material flow as the landscape of Kunisaki, and inside this landscape, you have the criteria of GIAS. And here we can even educate our young people about the meaning of landscape and GIAS of Kunisaki. They can go to different parts and they exactly see one of the criteria of GIAS. But now we have a problem. This, in the right side, you see landscape of GIAS, and in the left side, you can see that the bamboo invasion is came just next to the rice fields. And around Tameike is full of bamboo. So if bamboo is everywhere, then this natural material flow doesn't happen. Then it is impossible to manage the Tameike or water ponds and so on. So this is the definition of the problem, background of bamboo invasion. One of the challenges of Kunisaki, that it declines, the population declined, and then creation of bamboo forest due to bamboo invasion. This too makes the community not able to manage the bamboo forest. And then decline in biodiversity, decline in agriculture, the decline in human and nature collaborations, because people cannot go to the land because of too much bamboos and so on. So here we have a small story of bamboo history. As you can see, in Japan, we have long history of bamboo. More than 1,200 species of bamboo all over Japan. 40% of the total is in Kyushu, and then Oita Prefecture is number 1. So it makes sense that we have a big bamboo forest and area, and we need to think about it not only in prefecture level but in national level. I'm going to take you to some features of bamboo management, which is community-based, and from here the story of tourism can start. You can see a family, due to the research ethic, I'm not going to see the names and so on, but yes, they established their bamboo business 100 years ago, and then now they produce bamboo and they send it to Kanazawa, and they use it in Kenrokuen, for example. The bamboo comes from Oita for Yukitsuri and for some festivals. And they buy bamboos from different cities and they process in their small factory. This is their factory. But you may not believe that this traditional knowledge is in this misery situation because of the change of livelihood, change of lifestyle. It doesn't make a lot of economic profit. So you can see this one is like a big pipe. They put water in it and they boil the water, and they call it yugama in Japanese. So they put bamboo in the boiling water and they extract the oil and they make bamboo processing. And the bamboos that are not straight, they make it straight by heat. These are the work that they are doing. So this is a local traditional knowledge and factory that it can attract a lot of people, and it can create tourism activities. So they are highly potential to be a tourist attraction and tourist activity. I did conduct, with the support of Oita Prefecture, I did conduct research about this, and I found many of them that they have stopped working. This is another yugama, you can see here. And even in Oita area, not many people know what is yugama, what are these people doing. So this person was doing also bamboo for the big barrels of Japanese rice wine or sake, but during the COVID, because nobody drank that one in the drinking party, his job was gone and he became abandoned. So now planning toward landscape conservation with local communities, model landscape planning. This is what we are doing with support of Oita Prefecture to create some model sites that we use, and we utilize tourism or volunteers in tourism to support community to manage bamboo forest. Model landscape planning, social capital building. Local communities need to revitalize their abandoned forests with high bamboo density. Bamboo invasions led to attracting wild animals. So these are the problems that will be solved with bamboo management. And we have a short-term goal, which is 5 years, that we create a few model sites and let people also follow it. So why tourism, and why tourism for landscape conservation? Tourism creates value adding for environmental services, provide jobs. Tourism as itself can utilize the landscape as a place for tourism, and tourism in Kunisaki GIAS landscape provide educational opportunities. For value adding, we can utilize, here you can see some of the bamboo forest is used to make shade for shiitake production. And bamboo can be utilized for cooking, for many activities within the area. It creates jobs, which means that when we are in landscape management, we can also bring job for other community in terms of, for example, local and traditional knowledge, the culture and food tourism, and it creates job and benefit. And also for landscape revitalization, we have the bamboo that invaded landscape and destination planning, community-based tourism in bamboo forest, landscape management as tourism activities, building social capital for tourism development, creating a model site for bamboo management. We have also outdoor education. Students, younger generation, they can utilize bamboo materials for farming and for different activities, and at the same time they can explore the utilized and the managed bamboo landscape for tourism. These are examples from Oita. This is Utsa city where students utilize the managed bamboo forest for their activity. In conclusion, landscape is the meaning of agricultural heritage system. You know, heritage can be a place, but heritage system is more associated with the landscape. Landscape is managed and sustained by local communities. Each GIAS site has a unique landscape. Designated GIAS can be part of the landscape or entire landscape. In case of Kunisaki, we have entire landscape as GIAS system. Kunisaki landscape has big potential to be discovered, and the landscape need to be uncovered from bamboo. Tourism can play a significant role in discovering and uncovering Kunisaki GIAS, and tourism can bring more communication between local community and GIAS landscape management. And this research will continue to discuss the way of GIAS landscape tourism development for revitalization through traditional bamboo processing industry. This is the end of my talk. I know I went very fast, but to summarize it, I'm going to say that tourism is a bridge to bring urban and rural and to link them. In rural area, we have a lot of activity opportunities that tourism can provide manpower or human resource. And in case of Oita Prefecture, we believe that we have a big opportunity, which is bamboo or the biomass of bamboo. And this bamboo is covering our landscape and it separating local community with the landscape. So with the help of tourism and tourism planning, we are going to discover, or let's say rediscover tourism, rediscover Kunisaki GIAS landscape, and create more association of local community with landscape through tourism. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have questions and comment? I'd like to ask that.
I have a suggestion, Doctor.
Okay, please.
As I was briefly going over with you, Dr. Kazem, I represented Tamyang bamboo agricultural system, and where the biggest difference between Kunisaki and Tamyang is where the Tamyang farmers farm the bamboo field, as not just neglect them as a forest. So there's an officer from Tamyang, he I can consulted him. We would like to extend our advice and want to collaborate maybe together.
Perfect.
Later. So let's meet later.
Thank you very much. In Kunisaki, about 40 years ago, they planted bamboo. They made a lot of craft,
Yes.
but they don't do it anymore.
Right.
And then the bamboo became invaded.
Right. In 3 years, that's all you need.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
More questions and comments?
And my final comment also is that with bamboo we can make more than 50 type of products.
Yes.
And that is a lot of benefit if we can utilize this biomass.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Nice to see you. My name is Kani. I'm from Jeju Island of Korea, and I worked with several GIS sites and NIA sites myself, and I am very profoundly happy, especially after sitting through your presentation and Dr. Kazem's case, where I might be able to extend some help, and I feel very proud of it. And today is something new that I would like to introduce. Is as the title says, observation experience. Can you even guess what the observation experience is? You know, like this 13 minutes could be very long, lengthy presentation or very oral conversation time. I had to make up my mind how to deliver my presentation, and I wish to make it as simple as possible and maybe talk to you and talk with you about the experience observation or observation experience. The needs of observation experience, before I get into even the needs, explain the needs, maybe I would kind of gather what you can relate the observation experience. It's mostly updated countries, and they offer many experience programs with the children. Probably that's how we could understand. And then I will just go over, introduce what is usual understanding of observation experience program. And I've just kind of used kind of pictures for you to gather your understanding. Is where visitors or children visit and see how the animals or insects live, or even the plantation, and then they talk about it, and then they get to learn the ecosystem and the life value. And why is this observation experience important is because, and I'm going to just jump over to easy, is to objectify the subjectivity of a heritage through Q theory. And then you might be kind of confused about what's the objectivity or the subjectivity, right? And I would like to introduce you some examples first of the observation experience. It's easily found in UNESCO heritages, like the Wadden Sea, the World Heritage, which was designated as a 2009, and is a 500-kilometer flats, and with Denmark, Germany, and Netherlands. So criteria was that criteria 8 and 9 and 10. So it was quite complicated area, but it involves the three countries in Europe, Denmark, Germany, and Netherlands. So what they did was that three countries, they set up this consensus environmental education goal. Because, although the tidal flat is 500 kilo long, covering three countries, rather than working individually, they got together and created community and communal secretariat, and then they handled the whole education, the public PR, and the visitor education programs and through. So what they do is they set up see the round dots. There's 65 visitor centers in over the three countries, teaching the consensus environmental education and at the 65 programs. And also they do run the consensus program for three nations' public education system. So what they do is a participant observation program, and how they introduce is for the class trip, the guided tours of the visitors at the site, and the national Wadden Sea education through their teaching materials. So whether you learn from the Wadden Sea or whether you visit, you are using the basic materials same as a teaching material. So what they do is, what to expect and what's living in the biodiversity, and how they educate the value of the life there. But what I'd like to share with you today is that through this communal consensus education system, they share information about the resources and then awareness and what do I do as in one team, that I, an individual, as a team of environmental protector, what do I do? And then not only talk about it, what I can do directly to provide and preserve the heritage itself. So this is where people go through this, they realize what to expect, and even the shell or insect or the small plant, they all have life format, life value, so like where you see it, and then you set them free. Not only take. So I think that is very important, and that makes all the difference. And the same thing is with the WWT, London Wetland Center, and it starts with the distinction and extinction possibility of the endangered species. Not only the birds, the insects, or the shells and fish and all that, and also to keep the farmers' livelihood, they need the agricultural area, and they need the mud area. So what they do is to make interesting for people to be able to motivate it to visit there is through their teaching, the fun teaching materials. So through these materials, public to get to understand what's expected value of the heritage first before they even touch it. And with this era that everybody research before their actual visit through the internet. So all this format is provided on online system. So even if you can kind of with the English, vice versa translation services, anybody can access through this public system. And like this is one of the program. And so like when to talk about it, how do we develop this such international basic program is to understand that we have to understand the difference between what's farmer's expectation of heritage as the owner, the heritage owner, or what's visitors' expectation of when they visit the heritage, what they expect. They want to extract most fun, and where the farmers used to over hundreds of years, nearly 1,000 years of livelihood, where they want to protect their livelihood naturally. So like many quantitative material, teaching material and research material covers the people's expectation level, and then we have to protect, we have to preserve, conserve all the heritages and whatnot. And the theoretical ideas, but this Q theory is to extract what most people think about, what they knowledge up there. So like what they expect is a different gap, but they're talking about this different gap is if we can kind of overlap and to find out what they want to protect for their livelihood, the basic protection of it, and they can open the others to the visitors. So if visitors are aware how much and what I can do, visit there and make myself fun, is by providing the respect and the living, protecting the farmer's livelihood, and then it is safe. So to that, I have been working on this Q theory for 2 years. Is that everybody's, like when you research, quantitative way is that you take 300, 500 samples, right? But here, about 30 to 50 participants, more like, let's say, heritage residents, extract what they value the most about their heritage itself and what they want to protect, what needs to be kind of centered by looking at, this is whether, the triangle, the downward, is from the more like extracting the most important ideas down the drained way. So if you take the most medium way of expectations that you can gather what people want to protect, and this protection is need to be PR and need to be educated to the visitors. So at least this much of an asset, this much of resources, skills, traditional knowledge needs to be protected from the, for the heritage area. And at least tourists to visit, that they cannot take, because they paid some sort of fees, that they do not have right to take away all the way. So at least to leave this much, to the farmers' livelihood and their traditional knowledge system and whatever. Once the public understands and have the same knowledge level, it is rather easier to provide more like extra income source of, business type for the heritage area. Who needs it is mostly not only the GIAS site designation, UNESCO sites, and there are quite a few like Jeju Island, where the 5 UNESCO titles that we hold, and we have GIAS now with a Haenyeo, female diver, with now they have like 7 international titles. But for that, the expectations of UNESCO site is such perseverance, and where the FAO GIAS is more like utilization. Doesn't it clash? That's what most people think. But when you get down to it, whether it's GIAS or UNESCO, it's a livelihood, living field for the farmers and fishermen. So their expectation to be inherit their successful business, which is farming and fishery, to their for their successors. So for that, many farmers and using the GIAS sites and with all the activities, with experience activities are more offered on different heritage areas itself. And also this is also another session of the Posang tidal flat. But this is somewhat interesting area, but with people's awareness, and when I went down to the Q theory, and then with this gentleman here, with the chairman, we realized the manpower and the education, and where people's expectation as a resident's expectation was finalized, and when they practiced with the guided tour with the visitors, we found both were very contented, but they were more than happy about the, offering the business and have some income for local area, local people. But meantime, if you fall down, probably next year when I see you again, I will be able to kind of report to you the conclusion. But they kind of launched the initiative of their heritage. So not only by the people, but with the visitors. So once they agreed what they want to protect, what they want to visit, and once you can meet them and develop some sort of PR, education material, it could be worked out nicely. So with more, there would be many example cases, but I think my time is running out. But to the roadmap to offer these agricultural heritages of an observation experience is for the Korea's case. We have the heritage department division altogether, and if it is a national list of heritage, many subsidies and many protection and many policies that existed. So it probably is GIAS era sites to work with the GIAS or the FAO to kind of lobby to include the GIAS to the national list of heritages. And then maybe they could help offer more help to the heritage sites. So, well, it's kind of for your fun, and this is where Jeju Patam agricultural system is, and this is where next year IRAS will be at, and I wish to see you there. And there are many things, different programs, and this is for fun for you to kind of look up later as you have time. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Did I meet my time? Was I too fast or was I too slow?
Kanta, thank you very much.
Sure.
regrettably, time is running out. So if you have a comment and questions, please contact her personally after the session. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Indeed. Okay, next speaker is Yan-san. Please, Yan-san.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Yang Lun from the Institute of Geographic Science and Natural Resource Research of Chinese Academy of Science. And my speak is the impact of rural tourism on GS site from the perspective of smallholder farmers. And my speech will include 4 parts. The first background, as we know, in 2002, the FAO launched the program of GS officially, and the data need to be updated. For now, it should be 17.8 system among maybe 28 countries has been designated as GS officially. But in all the GS sites, smallholder farmers play important roles because their livelihood activities shape the landscape and the biological environment of agricultural systems to different degrees. You can see the picture is a GS in China because from the present and now because farmers' residents, their land has changed the landscape of whole system. And at GS and other rural areas, we are facing the same problem about the livelihood transformation. The one alternative livelihood of smallholder farmers is rural tourism to replace the initial livelihood of agricultural production, but it will lead to a trade-off between the agricultural activities and the non-agricultural activities. And this trade-off will bring many consequences. For example, if the farmers from the agricultural production to part-time rural tourism, they need to reallocate their labor force and financial investment, and when they are fully take part in the rural tourism, it will bring the problems like the land abandonment. So my key issue is that at the GS site, how is agricultural production changing under the development of rural tourism from smallholder farmers' perspective? So to figure out this question, I constructed a conceptual framework. In this framework, I take the rural tourism as external factor affecting the agricultural heritage, systems, productive structure and functions through the smallholder farmers' behaviors about their production skills, production input, output, and efficiency. And I constructed a detailed indicator you can see in the table. And I selected a case study at the first GS site in the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, and it's already also the only GS site in this region. And this GS site located in Gansu province, China, northwestern China, and it includes 4 communities. And to figure out the smallholder farmers' livelihood activities, I used the decision-making trees to categorize our farmers into 3 groups: agriculture-oriented farmers, part-time farmers, and tourism-oriented farmers. And in the result regarding to farmers' types, regional, rural tourism, we can show a very significant trend of non-agricultural livelihood transformation, especially the agriculture-oriented farmers has decreased significantly. And under this smallholder farmers' livelihood transformation, the whole system has changed. In In the old times, the whole system is a composite agriculture system integrating farming, forestry, and animal husbandry by the farmers fully using the limited land resources, including farmland, grassland, woodland, to obtain the essential food and energy and livelihood that you need. But under the smallholder farmers changing their livelihood, the whole system structure has changed from the integrated management of farming, forestry, and animal husbandry to the animal husbandry-based structure supplemented by farming and forestry. And the important is that the connection between the three parts of the agriculture industry has been weakened. So in terms of the regional agriculture production, we can say that even though the structure has changed, but the productive function is stable. Animal husbandry and farming served as a primary food source, and forestry functioned as a primary energy source. And under the rural tourism, the productive function has remained at most a stable level, and the average annual output of food and energy products was enhanced. So so in my research, we think that the regional production is constructed by every single smallholder farmers. So to figure out why the production feature is stable under the change of structure, we need to discuss every smallholder farmer's behaviors. So I investigated the small part of the farmers about their behaviors, including their skill, input, output, and efficiency. We can say that under the rural tourism, every single farmers, their annual material input by themselves has decreased, and but the total labor input has increased. And the most importantly is that the efficiency, especially the material input efficiency and the labor productivity, showed an increasing trend. But it didn't answer the question is that why the regional is stable. So I did a two-round regression to find out the mechanism, and I think maybe based on the different external factors, and I think the maybe eternal mechanism of this phenomenon is that with farmers changing from agriculture to rural tourism, the regional tourism reception capacity has becoming stronger, and it means that in this whole area, the livestock products consumption is become more strong, and it means that the production efficiency of animal husbandry is becoming more strong than before. But it brings another question is that this change is sustainable or not, because even production efficiency of animal husbandry is becoming stronger than before, but the trade-off between agriculture and non-agriculture production still continue. And this phenomenon brings another important question is that the grassland animal imbalance has becoming more stronger than before. So for now, I think that the government and the researchers should focus on improving the productivity of farmland and woodland. Especially, we should focusing on the land transfer and intensification issues, agriculture brands issues, and the rural tourism development model that to combine the nature and landscape side with agriculture cultures. So this is my speech today. So if you have any questions or further discussion, you can contact me by email. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So, questions or comment?
One question.
Okay, Mr. Kazan.
When you emphasize on productivity,
Yeah.
because you have sustainability and conservation. Do you think that it is sustainable to increase the productivity? Because there is a trade-off between natural resource conservation and productivity, high production or sustainable use of natural resource. I think in your research you have found that the change or the trend, the change of land use, and for example shifting from agriculture to livestock. So, but when you say the productivity, is it necessary to emphasize on the productivity? Because if we are thinking of the conservation, maybe the wise use of natural resource might be more important than productivity.
It's a confused questions because this geosite is very special because their land is limited. For now, the phenomenon of productivity improve is not sustainable for this area because they need cut the collection between the original structure between farmland and forestry. The farmers, they want to improve their productivity, so they changed their livelihood of livestock raise area to change the farmland and forestry to become the grassland, and it will bring the imbalance of grass and limited grass and animal. So I think improved productivity should be the future goal. But this stage, this kind of productive improvement is not sustainable.
Okay, more question. One more question. One more question. Okay, thank you very much indeed. The last speaker is Sun-san. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sun Yang from Beijing University. Today, I will share the research funding of my group on perceived differences in tourism image of terraced film and team agriculture heritage sites. The report will include 5 parts. First, we can come to the part 1, background and significance. We know the importance of agriculture heritage is increasingly highlighted. The heritage not only carry rich historical information and ecological wisdoms, but also are independable resources of strategy of rural revitalization. Agriculture heritage requires the dynamic tourism development. We can be better protect and utilize this heritage. However, there are limitations in perception of tourism image at agricultural heritage site. So our research have certain values on theories and practice. In terms of practice, series, we can expand the field of research on perception of agricultural heritage site. In terms of practice, it provides presence and distinctive strategy guidance for the development of terraced field and team tourism. And talk about method and approach. The research subject include terraced field and teen agriculture culture site, such as Yunnan Honghe honey rice terraced system, Yunnan Poor Ancient Teen Garden and Teen Culture System, totally 9 scenic spots. And in terms of research method, we used the network text analysis method. The first step is to collect data from travel website, Ctrip and Muffin using the web crawler software Octopus. And the next step is to process and analyze the data using Rooster CM6. These are the data we obtained. They are terraced fields, commons, and the teen tourist commons. And to talk about the data processing, we have 4 steps: data screening, semantic replacement, and establishing a customer word list. The last step is excluding common words. These steps have some different purpose, but we mainly want to truly reflect the tourist experience and the feelings, and also reduce the noise data. This is the theoretical foundation. We adopted the cognition and emotion series. This series think cognition and emotion have very close interacted each other, and it can analyze the perception. And this is the part 3, process and the contents. We divided into perception into 3 aspects: cognitive, it means cognition and emotion, and the last part, overall image. Talk about cognitive image comparison analysis. We use the high frequency word to analysis. We can find there are so many differences between these 2 types of heritage sites, include tourism attractions, tourism environment, history and culture, tourist behavior, tourist perception, and tourism facilities and services. And the next part, emotion comparison analysis. We compare the emotion category and the intensity. This is the 3 part. I mean emotion, we divided into 3 part: positive, neutral, and negative. And talk about the intensity, we also have 3 levels: high, general, and moderate. This part just want to explore the true emotions and their causes of tourists. And we can come to the last part, overall image. We use the social semantic network diagram analysis comparison. This kind of diagram will divide it into 3 levels. This is the social semantic network diagram. We can find there are so many differences between terraced field and the teen agriculture heritage site. For example, terraced field, we can find in the corn attractions only talk about the main attractions about terraced. The tourist will focus on main attractions, for example, terraced field. And in the 3rd level, we can find there are so many connections with high frequency words. And the conclusions, we can find that the attentions to a terraced field is significantly higher than that of teen. For example, terraced field tourists focused on ground and natural landscapes, rich and colorful national cultures, and talk about tea tourists. They focused on fresh and peaceful environment, and leisurely and comfortable teen cultural experience. And then emotional conclusion, we also found some differences. Talk about the terrorist field. Tourist positive emotions are strong, preparation and deep shock for the natural beauty. Negative emotions often comes from the natural experience, not meet expectations. And talk about teen sites. Positive emotions are more preparation for its quiet and relaxation atmosphere. Negative emotions related to the degree of commercialization and service qualities. And the last comparison, we can find the overall image. It can be divided into two parts: attractions and the tourist behavior. Tourist focus on natural landscapes, and their behaviors on mainly sightseeing and photographs. And last, we gave some suggestions about these two types of sites. For example, first, optimize tourism infrastructure and create professional tourism services. Second, develop interactive tourism products to provide in-depth cultural experience. And third, uncover the connotation of agricultural heritage and create festival-bred stories. And the last one, strengthen environmental protection and sustainable tourism practice. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have questions and comment? No questions? Do you have some questions?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. My name is Yagi, University of Tokyo, and it's a very good presentation and very innovative the research to identify the interest of visitors for grass and tea ground. And it's very interesting. Tea ground is an interactive interest because maybe people wanted to pick up and drink tea. But the terraced place, it's only photographing and sightseeing, and it's a very reasonable finding. Yeah, just a comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does someone comment and questions? Okay, there is no further comment and questions. So thank you very much indeed. Okay, now all the presentation is over, so I'd like to close the session at this moment. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, shall we start? I think it's time. Please be seated to join us for this interesting session. So allow me to introduce myself. I'm He Siyuan from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and I will chair this session. The theme is conservation of traditional culture in agricultural heritage system. So in this session, we will have 5 presenters, and I'd like you to all follow the time instructions. If we have enough time, we will have some question and answer time. So let me introduce the first presenter is Kim Wong-kyung from Korea, Department of Landscape Architecture, Graduate School of Busan National University researcher. Please.
Hello, my name is Wang Kyung Kim. I'm studying at Busan National University.
My topic is about Korea Sansuyu agriculture in Korea. Sansuyu agriculture has been for a long time for the livelihood and economic purposes. And now it has become an agriculture heritage. Participation in agricultural activities is important for the preservation of agricultural heritage system. To do that, I think the income of the farmer should be guaranteed. From this point, please listen my presentation. First, I will talk about the Korea Sansuyu agriculture. Next, about the income of the farmers who participate in this. And I talk about the sustainable conservation method related to income. Korea Sansuyu agriculture is Korea's important agricultural heritage system number 3. It is located Guregun, Jeollanam-do. This area is attached to Jiri Mountain. Jiri Mountain is the second highest mountain in South Korea. Look at this picture. Farming is difficult because the surrounding area is mountainous. To overcome these conditions, Korea Sansuyu agriculture began. In these areas, the available land was used for rice farming. It is a rice terraces. Here. And people wanted to use even a small piece of land, so Sansuyu trees were planted around the river and streams in villages and under forest areas. It's created a unique agricultural and natural ecosystem in Sandongmyeon, and it became a beautiful landscape like the photo. When Sansuyu flowers bloom, 500,000 people visit here. There are about 107,000 trees in this area. It's all over the place, but it's not everywhere. It's forming a group. Consider the condition of our trees to grow well. Elevation, small climatic conditions in towns and states, soil conditions. Many trees were planted mainly around the village. The oldest tree is about 10,000 years old. It's been planted for a long time ago. For a long time, Sansuyu has been planted throughout the village. Old trees are mostly around the farmland, around the streams, inside villages. Young trees are in farmland. This place used to be a rice field. Recently, planting new trees on the side of the road in the park of the landscape purposes. Since the 1980s, it has expanded a lot. In the past, good farmland grew rice, but now other crops are planted or Sansuyu is grown. This is because Sansuyu has a higher income than other crops. In the photos, Sansuyu is also grown on some terrace rice fields. Like this, there was some change in Sansuyu agriculture. Next, we look at the management of growers. There are 660 farmers in Sandongmyeon. This is the farmers registered as an agricultural management organization. Less than 0.2 hectare of management area, 41.5% of all. Less than 1 hectare, 93% of all. Most people have small farming areas, and the proportion of total has also increased. Because of the nature of the land, large-scale Sansuyu farming is impossible. Sansuyu has higher income rather than other crops in Gure, putting less but get a lot of profit. And in Gure regions have a higher income than other regions. Switching to other crops is difficult because they require a lot of labor or large farmland. The following is the income survey of the Sansuyu farmers. The production amount over 3 years is similar. However, operating expense increased by 28.9%, and the income ratio decreased from 68.6% to 56.8%. As expenses increase, income decrease. Out of the operating cost, establishment cost and capital goods cost increase a lot. There is a factor that affects operating cost, establishment cost, organic fertilizer cost, and machinery and equipment depreciation cost. Like other agriculture, costs will continue to rise. Farmers' income are likely to decline. Aging is a big problem. There is no one to work in the village. There use machines allowed to reduce labor. Some agricultural machines are only used for very short time. It's a cost to use a machine like this. It's burden to farmers. According to the survey, most farms are small, and the smaller the area, the higher the cost per. I compare two groups in terms of management size. Large groups have a higher income per area. The average age of a farmer is 70. The income problem of a small farmer is very important because they are important for the maintenance of the agricultural heritage system. Last year, we did a survey on the nation. This is the result of satisfaction after designation of important national agricultural heritage. The income improvement is lower than other items. Next is the question about what is needed for the continuous participation. First, income-related activities. Second, direct payment interruption. There are high interest in income issues. This is a conclusion. For the continuous preservation of agricultural heritage, the agricultural activities of the nations are important. And for agriculture to not stop, they need a stable income. So we need a support plan for wage income guarantee. Let me suggest some ideas. There is a direct and indirect support. For direct support, consider direct payment and local funds. The direct payment system is funded by the government and guaranteed agricultural income. It is known by the government and community organizations. Funds raise money on their own. There may be some budget support if needed. Use it to reward activities. And can be prepared for certain management needs. It is loved by community. Indirect support is to provide facility and equipment or provide shared facilities. reduce management costs. Local government should support this. We need to promote joint business. New business are needed in the form of a cooperative. For example, joint sale, processing, food, and rural tourism. And the project and financial resources of the community can be circulated. Some of the revenue from the joint business should be used as a fund. Gure Sansuyu agriculture is now a famous tourist destination, and many people know it. However, it is not for tourists. It should not to be just for sight. There are many important things for the preservation of the agricultural heritage system. There is a traditional culture and knowledge. There are various ecosystems and people. People need to keep farming for a long time. Many residents should participate in agriculture. There are people. We need to think more about farmers' livelihood. And for this, from monitoring, we can find the conservation method. And for dynamic conservation, we need many small farmers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kim, for introducing us with a very interesting agricultural system, but which face a lot of challenges. And we have some time, but I think we just move to the next presenter. Maybe we'll save the questions in the last. Thank you so much. Our second presenter is Lee Se-yeol, also from Korea. He's from Agriculture Policy Division, Uiseong-gun County local government.
Hello, I am Se-yeol Lee from Uiseong-gun local government officer, and I'm honored to present my study on factors influencing participation in agricultural heritage conservation activities. This case study focuses on the Uiseong traditional irrigation system in Korea. Today, I will cover the following points: background of study, research overview, results of findings, conclusion, and implications. The Uiseong region is renowned for its extensive water storage facilities developed over centuries to support agricultural activities. This area has been designated as a National Important Agricultural Heritage Site in 2018 and recognized as a World Heritage Irrigation Structures in 2022. The region features over 6,227 ponds and small reservoirs, with around 1,000 supporting agriculture in the mountain Kumsong area. Resident participation is very important for the management and conservation of agricultural heritage. This process involves 4 steps: resident council formation, building agricultural heritage governance, organizing and conducting conservation activities, participating in agricultural heritage monitoring. Various resident-led activities support the conservation of Uiseong's agricultural heritage. These include operating irrigation association meetings, maintaining irrigation facilities, holding rituals for a bountiful harvest, and organizing village cleanup activities. Such activities foster a strong sense of community and environmental stewardship among residents. Continuous education programs for residents are essential to encourage their participation in conservation activities. These programs aim to enhance residents' knowledge about agricultural heritage and its significance, thereby boosting their engagement and participation. There is a global emphasis on the multifunctionality of agriculture, highlighting the need for agricultural heritage conservation. In Korea, many traditional agricultural practices have been damaged due to modernization and uniform development policies. Therefore, it is crucial to develop strategies that increase resident participation in the conservation and management of national important agricultural heritage. Community-based conservation, CBC, is an effective approach for protecting natural resources. It involves local residents in decision-making and leverages their knowledge and experience. Successful CBC efforts require both internal and external support, emphasizing the importance of social capital and trust within the community. Factors influencing community-led conservation can be categorized into 5. First, social factors, such as a strong sense of community and environmental awareness. Second, economic factors, including economic incentives and livelihood security. Third, cultural factors, such as traditional knowledge and cultural values. Fourth, institutional factors, including policy support and co-management arrangements. Fifth, individual factors such as personal environmental values and local leadership. My research involved surveys and interviews with the local residents to gather data on their willingness to participate in conservation activities. I used the binary logistic regression model to analyze factors influencing participation and explore the reasons for difficulty in participation. The survey period was from April 1, 2020 to May 13, 2020, covering 353 households in Uiseong County. The survey aimed to understand the residents' willingness to participate in agricultural heritage preservation and management activities. It also assessed the minimum acceptable payment for participation and explored the reason for difficulty in participation. The survey method included on-site visit and face-to-face interviews with residents. The survey covered various demographic characteristics of the residents, such as gender, age, farming experience, main crops, education level, and annual agricultural assistance income. This information helped us analyze the factors influencing resident participation in conservation activities. The survey revealed that 80.2% of respondents were willing to participate in conservation activities. Key factors influencing participation included gender, farming experience, education level, and knowledge of agricultural heritage. Main residents, those with more years of farming experience and those with higher education levels, were more likely to participate. Despite the high willingness to participate, several challenges hinder resident involvement. The primary issues identified were labor shortage due to an aging workforce, lack of a sense of community among villagers, and insufficient funding for conservation activities. Notably, 37.1% 14% of residents cited a lack of interest as a barrier of participation. The analysis showed the average annual hours residents are willing to participate in various conservation activities. These ranged from 4.78 hours for creating and managing small ponds, called dumbang, to 15.18 hours for preserving agricultural rituals and community cultures. The willingness to pay for these activities averaged between 11,724 Korea won to 13,625. This reflects the value residents place on different conservation activities, with higher amounts for activities they consider more crucial. The binary logistic regression model identifies significant factors influencing participation. Positive influences included knowledge of agricultural heritage, farming using traditional irrigation facilities, participation in agroecological conservation activities, gender, rice field size, and education level. In contrast, years of farming experience had a negative influence on participation. Based on study findings, I suggest a 4 methods to promote resident engagement in managing agricultural heritage. The first, systematic education programs for local residents to increase their knowledge of agricultural heritage. Second, financial support for residents' participation in conservation activities. Third, targeted educational programs to enhance resident engagement, particularly addressing the lack of interest. Fourth, budgetary support for the sustainable conservation and management of agricultural heritage. While my study provides valuable insights, the data used are from a survey conducted 3 years ago, and there is a lack of recent information. Future research should include time-based and regional comparisons, as well as international comparisons between countries like Korea, China, and Japan. Conducting similar surveys periodically can help track changes in resident participation and identify new challenges. I hope my presentation will contribute to study of agricultural heritage. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Mr. Lee's presentation about the irrigation system. If I remember right, you were here. You joined the meeting last year, right? Talking about the irrigation system. Yes, very interesting. Gave me a very deep impression. You also mentioned a lot of challenges, like the aging issues, like the difficulty of building up the residential association. From this morning's top, like the speech from the Korean scholar, we all know that the resident association and the policy support seems very important for the dynamic conservation of agriculture systems. So I think you just gave us a very good example, and I hope there will be questions afterwards. So let's move on to our next presenter. She is Toyoda Mizuo. She is from Niigata University's Daido Center for Ecological Sustainability. Let's welcome.
Hi, my name is Mitsuyo Toyoda. I'm from Niigata University. I belong to Daido Island Center for Ecological Sustainability and conduct research on multi-stakeholder processes for ecological community development by actually launching collaborative projects with a variety of local stakeholders. And today I would like to share a project of designing a living lab, mainly focusing on how we, as a management team of the lab, are trying to develop this lab as a platform for co-creation. But let me start from a brief introduction to GIAS in Sado, Japan. Sado Island is located in the Sea of Japan, and it was designated as GIAS in 2011 for its agricultural agricultural landscapes and practices aimed at the conservation co-inhabitants with the endangered bird called Japanese crested ibis, which is called toki in Japanese. And as a result of the active involvement of local farmers and residents, Sado was successful in generating meaningful outcomes both ecologically and socially, such as the growth of the population of toki and the spread of ecological rice farming method called toki ninshomai, and also environmental activities to conserve Satoyama landscapes have been growing, involving residents on this island. Whereas Sado GIAS definitely contributed to the growth of ecological community development, it faces difficult challenges as well, such as the decline of the number of rice farmers, the rapid increase of abandoned farmlands, and the difficulty with improving farmers' income. Young generations are losing their interest in succeeding family-based rice farming because they cannot see the possibility in its future. Facing these challenges, we recognize the importance of strengthening the primary industry in Sado. For this reason, we launched a living lab for experimenting various approaches to sustainability of Sado Island. Living Lab is a system for generating innovations through the multi-stakeholder processes of co-creation. This concept was born in the United States and grew in Europe. In Japan, there is a variety of living labs run by private companies, universities, municipalities, and so on. And in order to connect their activities, the platforming organization named the Japan Network of Living Labs was launched this year. And Sado Living Lab was launched as a joint project of Sado City, Niigata University, and NTT Data, a private company of information technology. And it was established in 2022 in order to activate the co-creation towards ecological sustainability. This figure explains the functions of Living Lab. The core of the lab is sustainability, the cycle of experimenting sustainability projects. We learn about sustainability issues in Sado and envision how local resources are used to generate practical outcomes to overcome the issues we encounter. Through the continuous process of piloting sustainability projects, we are trying to search for opportunities for innovation, capacity building, and also participatory policy making. And these are the examples of sustainability projects we have been conducting in the lab. For example, revitalizing seaweed culture, utilization of bamboo, ethical food production and consumption, and so on. And These are the examples of the projects that contribute to the conservation of Satoyama landscapes by facilitating the use of Satoyama Satomi resources. And these individual projects are growing. However, as a coordinator of this living lab, we also need to examine whether the lab is working as a mechanism to advance co-creation among various stakeholders. Our research focus is to develop a tool for evaluating the co-creation processes of our living lab so that we can strengthen its co-creation dynamics. This process explained how we developed the tool. First, we analyzed how the concept of co-creation was defined by reviewing articles and documents and identified its key aspects. We then created a worksheet to evaluate the activities of the living lab from the different aspects of co-creation. And we used this worksheet and conducted the evaluation workshop, inviting the members of the management team of the lab. We then improved this evaluation tool. So let me explain the detail of this process. First, we examined the definition of the concept of co-creation. By reviewing articles, we identified 8 key aspects that are essential to the notion of co-creation. The key aspects include participation of various stakeholders, equality among participants, integration of different disciplines, dialogical processes, engagement and incentives, sharing visions, flexible organizational governance, building better relationships. These are the key concepts identified as a key concept of co-creation. And based on these 8 aspects, we built 11 questions to examine the co-creation. These questions include, for example, did you try to include people from diverse backgrounds in your project? Could participants from different backgrounds discuss equally in decision processes? And I don't go through read them all, but these questions are built to examine the key aspects of co-creation. Then we piloted the evaluation process. We conducted the evaluation workshop with a management team of Salo Living Lab. 5 members participated in the workshop. In this workshop, first, each participant answered 11 questions individually with 3 options: yes, no, and don't know. Then we showed the results, identified the gaps in their evaluation, and engaged in dialogue reflecting the co-creation processes of the lab. And based on the workshop, we considered how we can improve this evaluation system. And here are the results. As you can see, people answered differently in several questions, even though they have been working together to run the laboratory. For example, if we look at the question number 1, did you try to include people from diverse backgrounds in your project? 2 chose yes, 1 chose no, and 2 chose don't know. And we asked the participants the reason behind their answers and examined the differences in their viewpoints. This is a summary of the dialogue among the participants. So let me briefly go through it. I chose yes because both residents and outsiders with diverse backgrounds began to participate in the projects of the lab. I chose no because participants are limited to those with a high interest in sustainability. We have not been successful in involving people who are not interested in the theme. I chose don't know because active participants were always the same, even though they represented diverse positions. I chose yes because we were trying to grow partnerships among various stakeholders. However, it is still difficult to facilitate collaboration among various departments of the municipality. So the participants evaluated the performance of the lab differently because the interpretation of various backgrounds differed among them. And through this opportunity, the members began to consider how to involve people with low interest and how to facilitate cross-sectional collaboration in the municipality. I put another example here, but I don't have time to go through this second example. So, yeah, I think you can see my slide online from the website of this conference, I think. Yeah. So after piloting this evaluation process, we surveyed how this evaluation process itself was evaluated by the members of the management team. And this is a result of the review of the evaluation process. The orange color means yes. And by looking at this result, we can assume that this evaluation scheme overall was meaningful for the members. But the fourth question, for example, like did this workshop provide an opportunity to reconsider the goals of the lab? This question was rated low. So we recognize that it is necessary to improve the process of workshop to provide an opportunity to set new goals for improving the co-creation mechanisms. Reflection. The evaluation process designed in this research was effective in making an opportunity to examine the co-creation processes by activating communication among the members of the lab's management team. As I presented, the notion of co-creation can be interpreted from various aspects. By examining the co-creation from different perspectives, the members were able to gain feedbacks into their initiatives. Whereas we still need to make some improvements to make this scheme more effective in decision processes, it certainly had a positive impact on deepening the members' understanding of the process of co-creation. So I think that a challenge of developing a new living lab is critically important for the future of SALOGIAS because the participation of multi-stakeholders is essential to the conservation of Satoyama landscapes. We hope that this Living Lab project contributes to the enhancement of cross-sectional collaboration and public participation and creates new standard of co-creation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Toyoda, for the nice time control. And I can see the progress of the Living Lab from Sado Island because I guess you joined the meeting last year. Yeah, you just gave us very interesting, cutting-edge concept of Living Lab, and we all know that it's very difficult to actually monitor and evaluate the progress of some project, but it's important because that's the way we improve the management and make the project effective. And thank you so much. Let's move on to our next presenter. So the next presenter is Dr. Tang Shangshu from the Institute of Agricultural History Research, Huazhong Agricultural University of China. So Dr. Tang, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm from China, Wuhan City, and come from the Huazhong Agricultural University. It's my honor to share my research about the parts and the mechanism of rural revitalization empowered by the protection of agricultural heritage systems. Now, I will show 4 aspects about this. The first word overview the Earth in Yangtze River Basin from 2018 to 2023, about 188 important agricultural heritages in China, of which 69 are from Yangtze River Basin, about 1/3. Up to now, there are 5 in Hubei province, my hometown. The first is Yanglou brick tea culture system. The second, Enshi Yulu tea cultural system. Today, I will especially to give the second Enshi Yulu tea as example to share my research. The third part, the objectives of rural revitalization of country. Nowadays, we know we have 5 objects about the rural revitalization. The first, surveying business, developing modern agricultural and rising the level industrialization of rural area. The second, pleasant living environments. Third, social equality and civility. Fourth, effective governance. The last one is very important one, prosperity. Rise the farmers' incomes and improve people's well-being. These 5 objectives is nowadays we must take some steps to revitalization our rural areas. The third one, the parts. Now I will show the Enshi tea cultural system. Enshi is a city in west of Hubei province. Enshi tea production has a long history, which can be traced back to West Zhou dynasty around 1049 BC. In that time, the old book history written that when the king Zhou Wang attacked Zhou Wang and the people in Ba Palace to offer the tea as a treaty. So this is the earliest written about the tea. In Qing dynasty, the Enshi Yulu tea has very popular in the nation. And in 1965, Enshi Yulu tea was selected as top 10 famous tea in China. In 2009, it was named the first history tea in Hubei province. And in 2015, Yulu tea cultural system was included in the list of China's important agricultural heritage product. So the second, I will show the factors of Enshi Yulu tea cultural system. First, the beautiful landscape. I hope in some days everyone can go there. Welcome. The second, profound history. It's a long history, over 2,000 years. Third,
very distinctive folk activities. The last one is precious resource. The land is rich in selenium, which be healthy for the people. The landscape is in Enshi Yulu tea is very special. They plant the tea trees with grain croppers intercropping patterns. The two patterns, the second pattern is the tea trees and the fruit trees. The third one, the trees intercropped. One is that it was intercropping with other economic trees. The other one is the garden around it. The ecological value of Enshi Yulu tea. Intercropping patterns of tree grain croppers. It automates the miracle environment and enrich the ecological network. Second, regulate temperatures and maintain the soil and water. Third, enhance ecological resilience and resisting pests and disease. The economic value of Enshi Yulu tea. The first is brand. Please look at these pictures. 2018 year, the Indian Modi Prime Minister come to China, to Wuhan, my hometown, to they drink, and this is Xi Jinping president, they drink this Yulu tea. Okay. So the Yulu tea nowadays has much economic value. The other one is that the value of culture of Enshi Yulu tea. The people focus on the Yulu tea. They have some intangible cultural heritage and the folk custom as craft and skill and technology and the local culture. Now the fourth, the future. Although the Yulu tea has many values, but nowadays they face some problems. Now, I have shown a suggestion to everyone. The first, to strengthen the coordination of resource factors. The two, awaken the villagers' conscience of subjective. The third, encouraging the participation of multiple subjects. Fourth, launching a special plan and established a long-term mechanism. The fifth, making good use of scientific and technological innovation to enhance brand building. That's all. Thank you. Welcome to Wuhan. Welcome to China.
Thank you, Dr. Tan, for inviting all of us to your hometown, Wuhan. I think now everybody can remember the name of the city. And I think you might be interested in this tea planting system. And it is one of the famous tea terraces and gardens in China. And now let's move on to our last presenter, Dr. Mai Xiuhua from Hong Kong Shuyan University. She will presenting us with her research. Now let's welcome her.
Okay, thank you for inviting me, giving me a valuable chance to attend these meaningful meetings. I'm Veronica Mack from Hong Kong Shuyan University. So, My research questions about today is how did the young peasants use digital technology and platform to promote and conserve jazz culture in Qingyuan, Zhejiang, China, and Kunasaki Peninsula in Japan. So why I study this topic? Because I think after today's conference, many scholars point out that aging population is one of the biggest problems in jazz. And this is, in fact, is the major point of jazz is that they want to conserve the stewardship. That is the traditional agricultural knowledge that about the human wisdom, right, in using the very organic way in cultivating the environment that is good for both human and non-human. So, however, meeting this challenge, however, at the same time, we find in China, like President Xi Jinping is encouraging digital agriculture. In Japan, also, there is a society 5.0 also supporting digitalization of agriculture. So gradually, we find that this digitalization happened in rural area. There is also a growing trend of the young, tech-savvy people who are being drawn back from the cities to the rural area. For example, from big cities like Hangzhou and Tokyo. There are different scholars studying that, and the reasons a little bit different between Japan and China, but overall speaking, it's like health, environment, very safe food, maybe family legacy, new economy like the Wanghong economy, supporting religious life, etc. There's also current scholar also look into this aspect, like how smart environment can protect can conserve jazz, but mostly the cultural elements are being ignored. There are also ICT studies, information communication technology study focusing on new peasants in China. But what they study is they talk about the new creative class and also post-productions agricultural regime that talk about how these new peasants are being trapped in the digital cage following Max Weber's theory. So however, the contributions of the new peasants to how they conserve jazz agricultural heritage are largely ignored. So my research will fill into this gap. Culture is one of the core values of jazz. Okay, I would say it is very fundamental in supporting the other four values of jazz. For example, when people like in Qingyuan, they build up the stone temple in worshiping the mountain god, or in also they do the feng shui forestry in supporting the river and also important water source in China. So you see the feng shui forests are very much spread out in the Qingyuan area. In Japan, also, we have the Minari Festival every year in worshiping mountain gods, and also the Suji Oni Festival every year in paying respect to the deities. So all this culture are supporting agricultural diversity and also biodiversity, and also transmitting the traditional knowledge system. So they are fundamental in supporting that. That's why I want to compare two jazz, okay, a comparative study. Why I choose these two sites is that they share quite a common heritage is the technique of shiitake cultivations. So both in Qingyuan and also in Japan, they have a common literature, Asian literature talk about traditional mushroom cultivation method that can be traced back to 800 years before in Qingyuan, and that spread through the Buddhist monk to Japan. In Japan, it is known as the Tami Shiki. So today I will not go through that, but this like the 8 step that is recorded in jazz as the heritage of human wisdom are being practiced in both China and Japan. So my focus today, as I mentioned, is about the new farmers who use digital technology and new platform economy in vitalizing the rural area. So one of the most respectable ladies, my informants, is Wu Lifang. So she's a university graduate. She has a very decent job in Wenzhou, being a search engine specialist, working in an e-commerce company. So, however, instead of continue her prestigious job, earning a high-paid job, she moved back to Qingyuan. Okay, MB. And you can say Wanghong, but I would say new peasants. She doesn't do farming by herself every day. She do participate sometimes, but she puts a lot of very lovely, beautiful videos, photos every day in Weibo and also WeChat. So why she moved back to the rural area is that for health, first of all, she found her declining health. Secondly, is she tried to, because in 2017, there's one time that her parents, the shiitake farmers, that have 30,000 sticks of the sawdust shiitake being grown, very good harvest, but they no way to sell to the customer. They do not have a channel to reach the customer. So she thinks that, okay, why don't I use my specialists in search engine specialists to help my parents and also the villagers. So she starts, okay, the farm and also the online. But she doesn't only do that. She's not only a Taobao merchant, but she put all the daily life like the shiitake drying under the sun. She do all the rebranding like the duck, rice, heritage system. And also she, most importantly, he put the beautiful nature, the sky, blue sky, and also the grassland, the mountains in her videos. And her husband is also a designer. So both the husband and her, so shoot very good videos. So they use the aerial camera, okay, top shoot the landscape. And then they zoom to the daily life about the villagers, how to learn the drying of the vegetables, and then zoom to how they have the very happy meal together. So what there's one touching story she told me about is that there's one day that her client take an annual leave and have a 5-hour drive to see her in order to see the beautiful blue sky and the mountain that she shoot in her Weibo. So you see what the consumer are consuming is not only a just product. Okay, the meaning of conservation or just is about human connection to nature. It's about the love of a community. It's about a nostalgic feeling. Okay, the home childhood memory, all that come together. The end of the kind of sensation and connections, maybe even ontological security, you can say. I think some of you already know Hayashi-san. He is also a returnee, right, from the Tokyo University, being a professor, and moved back to the rural Kunasaki Peninsula to be a farmer. So he himself, in fact, is a scientist. In her Facebook, okay, in Japan, you can use Facebook, IG, right? And from time to time, if you are a fan of his Facebook, you can see how he put the step in the just, okay, shiitake cultivations online. And this is his mother. So he returned because her mother stayed alone in the farm. And her mother also recreates like the Kapokun lime, okay, also another heritage products to mix with shiitake to create new recipe, and she's on TV in the past, okay. So we find that make use the internet, you are being connected to the world. This is another very brilliant lady, okay, Fusaku-san, okay, I stayed in her farmhouse to do research for more than 2 weeks. So she's also a return, she graduated from University of California State, okay, University of California State. And then she back to Tokyo to be work in Adidas as a senior manager, very high pay. And also her husband, also a very brilliant designer. So after Tokyo, this earthquake happened around 10 years before, near Tokyo. So she and her husband has a very great reflections about the meaning of life. And also, okay, how that we human can be more connected to nature. So they moved, after 1 year fought, and also 1 year her husband learned how to do cultivation, they moved from Tokyo and back to Kondosaki. So I think we also need to understand, after we know about the motive, what is the business model that can sustain their life, right? So they also make use of this digital platform. She make use of IG and Facebook to put the cultivation, how they do very organic farming, and she sells very high price. So most of the client is from Tokyo. So they are willing to pay for very high price together with the mail cost in order to have her food transport to Tokyo. So, and then because you put almost, okay, you can, everyday life and also in her IG, you can find how the rituals and also how they do under the JAS system, okay, how they cut the logwood and then build and then harvest the shiitake together with other agricultural products like the beans. So she emphasizes very safe food and low pesticide, and they even don't use animal the natural pesticides, the animal pieces that is allowed in organic farming. So she always say that her food is more organic than organic food. So I think most important is that they put that the daily life is that the new peasants are living as if you are living in a city. In fact, her son is the winner of AI competition. So you find that is, the new peasants, they are having very organic life. At the same time, that the next generation can have hope, okay, can go to good university, and also because now with the internet, Wi-Fi, right, you can always connect it to the other part of the world. So there's me, I'm joining her workshop, okay, and she's also very connected to the, lower the labor cost, connected to the world by joining the woofer. So it is also enabled by internet and social media. So in China, we have Wurong. Okay, so Wurong is another young generations, new peasants. He reintroduced the old taste of 2414 species that is used to grow in logwood shiitake. But because it is not suitable in sawdust way of doing shiitake, so many most of since 2000. There's no longer this species exists. So he reintroduced that back to Qingyuan. And at the same time, he put art in the dress system, okay? How you transform the dress that is by art. So another very good couples in doing that is Mr. Yabashi-san and also his couple. They do also similarly, they do workshop about tasting and they connected with luxury brand. And the last ladies I want to talk about is Miss Shika. So she's not doing shiitake, but she is also under the dress system in Kunisaki is a Sichitui craftsman. So there's a special plant only now grow in Kunisaki Peninsula, and she make use of that. That is the one that make tatami, and you find that, okay, her success is that she transformed the whole thing into a piece of art. So she was being invited, her work is treated as a piece of art. And we even used it in a very, very high-end resort hotel called Kai in Kunisaki Spa Resort. So that's because she's so talented, she's being invited to have talk around the world in promoting. So I want to emphasize one of her biggest income stream also come from internet, is that she do workshop for Shichitui. And most of the biggest income stream, in fact, come from international school. And that how she is being connected to that is also through internet, through Facebook, IG. So how much time I got? So if I have time, I would like to, okay, maybe I go to the discussion and conclusion. So I want to, first of all, I have two main aspects I want to discuss is that different political systems allow different kind of platformizations. So in China and in Japan, people are accessible, the new farmer are restricted by the different platform. So there are certain platforms that are not able to access in China. So most of the Chinese new peasants, okay, their customer mainly come from the region or the national. But in Japan, many of their customers, in fact, come from overseas. I would say many of the overseas students, schools are interested in dress, and so they give new income stream to the new peasant and sustain their living. So, so this is the detail on how they can conserve, okay, dress in a certain way, in a different way. So what I want to talk about is that the official definition of conservation between the government or FAO is quite different from new farmers. I want to go back because I'm an anthropologist. So I go more to a philosophical level. Is that what is the meaning of conservations? For the farmers, in fact, it is more about life, about self-cultivations or transformation or actualizations. So it is more about having super safe food, good taste, conserve the villages, and also using the past to build new brand and also their own identity through art and icon. So I want to go back, this is the last line, okay, just bear with me for 10 seconds. So heritage, I would say that it is a process and practice of keeping the past alive in the present. So like the practice and process, it's not something stagnant, that need to pass from the that need to pass through, that we can calculate it, okay, through quantitatively. So this is through collaboration between human and non-human. And in order to do that, okay, I would say that we need to make the peasants happy, that they are emotionally attached to the jazz, okay, through different ways that I mentioned, through art, through their family life, okay, and through their happy living. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mai. I think you should thank all the previous presenters for saving some time for you, but I really enjoyed your presentation from the perspective of an anthropologist. And our theme is about traditional culture, but you just confirmed us that traditional culture can be conserved in a quite modern way. And we can have some new peasants coming back to the traditional system to publicize the value, create new values to the old but not outdated values. So I think we have like 10 minutes for questions and comments. If you have any questions, comments, just feel free to raise your hands and I can give you the microphone. So, any comments? Questions? No? Don't be shy. We have enough time. Or any of the presenters have questions for other presenters?
Thanks for the Mac Sova. Oh, I want to know your presentation about several, one or two new farmers, but all about a lot of many peasants. How about that? Yeah, for they to affection to the sustainable agricultural heritage. A lot of peasants all over the world, a lot of many peasants all over the world for the sustainable of agricultural heritage. Yeah, maybe I spend couldn't clear. Maybe you understand my question.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. I'm.
我的意思是，可能个别的网红会对这个农业有一个收入，会促进它的这个产业的发展。但是更多的 many peasants，他们还是淹没在这个生产当中，他们没有获得更好的经济收入来保持这个有活力的农业可持续发展、农业遗产的一个保护和传承。
对对对。
就这个你怎么考虑的？好，谢谢啊。Sorry,
Mr. Ma, you can just
speak
repeat the
in
question
English.
before answering it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very good questions. Okay. Maybe I just briefly translate the questions. Is that okay? What my presentation is on a few that is quite successful new presence that can sustain, give new value, right, to the jazz. But majority of the peasants are living a harsh life, right? So I totally agree. That's why even after the destination of jazz, the population are still declining in most of the jazz. So the people, and I have just recently done a research in Kunisaki Peninsula, and also I met a lot of farmers. Most of the farmers are still, they do not want the next generation to stay in Kunisaki. So they want the next generation to move to Tokyo or other place to study. They're still the same. But what I point out is that we still have hope, is that we find that is all the people I present are highly educated. I think also Stephen also pointed out that there's more highly educated people seems to be more susceptible to more environmental, eco-friendly way of doing agriculture. So, I think that, and those who move back, in fact, they not necessarily do, not all of them do farming. Some of them are like a facilitator. They are like Wu Lifang, the first lady I mentioned. In fact, she is mobilizing the whole village to do the production, and she is the one do marketing. You can say. So in a way that if you I think we need to set a more reasonable goal. Is that talk about sustainability? I think it will be quite impossible to have the whole village to to have increasing population in doing that. But I think at least we can have a certain group of people who insist and see the value of jazz, and then they really feel happy in doing that. I think if you find that, for example, your goal is that to just earn a high living or just earn a more amount of money, so going back to the rural area doing cultivating based on jazz is not the way. Yeah, they should stay in the city. So they have to have other reasons, like more like an activist, right? You can say environmental activist, that you want to support, that you want to resist the global warming, or like you at least like the family of Fusako-san. So she's at least, they said that, okay, they grow very ugly vegetables, okay, but very healthy. At least their family can eat it. So at least this is, and also at least a certain portion of the farm they can pass to the next generation that is organic. So I think it's like food Confucianism, that you start with your family and then you expand to the nation. So it's sort of Confucianism, I think, right? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, like very interesting question. So do we have any other question? Any comments? So if you don't have, I have one. Actually, I will use the time. Yeah. So I actually have a question for the first presenter, Mr. Kim. You mentioned the tourism is flourishing in this corners of the Nepalese agricultural system. So what's the role of the local farmers? What's the role of local farmer in this tourism development? Can they benefit, or do they invest in it? Something like that.
You question the way to raise that on the income from the tourists. In the Gure-gun, there is at that time the problem, many people come in, but there is no the entrance fee in this village, and I think the resident have to make the cooperative, and they will get income by the tourists, and they make the goods or the food, and can processing the sansuyu, and in like this, every people can participate in this business and get the income, and the income is used to the funds, and the funds can make the preservation activities. And I think
Thank you very much. So any other questions or comments? Yes, if you don't have any questions, we can just move to the final session on the first floor. And thank you again for all the presenters and audience. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope we can have some more discussion afterwards. Thank you.
Starting from 4 p.m., we will have keynote presentations at Minamo Hall on the first floor. And this room will be closed soon, so please make sure to have all your belongings with you. Thank you.